So, when I revealed in my stories on Instagram that we actually got the Blackmagic Pocket Cinema 6K, a lot of you guys had a lot of questions as to why did we buy the Blackmagic, as well as what this camera is being used for, how do I like it, and what kind of jobs I intend to shoot with it. And of course, these are all viable questions, and I like to answer some of these in today's video. This is not going to be a review at all, and just my first impression, and basically just talking about the decision I made buying the Blackmagic Cinema Pocket 6K instead of any other camera, or just waiting for other cameras to be announced. If you've been following this channel for a while now, you know that we owned the C200 for the longest time, and actually the majority of all of our projects are shot on the C200. We still sold it in 2019 for different kind of reasons. We actually had something completely different planned for 2020, completely traveling, giving up our apartment, our studio, and just hitting the road. And the C200 wasn't really the best fit for this. So we went mirrorless for a little bit, but then obviously our plans have changed and we really went back into commercial filmmaking, filming clients, and being based here. Although we're still traveling a lot, I still really like having the studio and doing YouTube and focusing on commercial projects alike. But enough about the C200, let's talk about the Blackmagic. Why did we get it in the first place, and what are our intentions for it? We actually had some commercial projects already lined up. Our biggest client here in Austria is a beauty clinic, and they booked us for 10 videos, but we only shot 8 of them so far because of some scheduling issues on the client side. And since some of these videos are about surgery and require some before and after footage, we already started shooting some of the footage on the C200 way back and already had that footage. But then we sold the C200, and when it came to shooting the rest of the video, we actually used our EOS Rs. Although the client never actually complained, it's really not up to our standard, and when editing the footage you could clearly see the difference between the two cameras. And since I'm an absolute quality and gear junkie, I really wasn't satisfied with the look we got out of the EOS R. I mean, the EOS R was never intended for commercial work, and we were always looking for the next EOS R that actually took our filmmaking to the next level again, since we already invested in RF lenses anyway. But since we already had so many shoots lined up, and even for YouTube, I thought that the EOS R was good for vlogging and some of the behind the scenes stuff, but when actually shooting product shots, it just wasn't sharp enough, and the 4K didn't have any slow motion, so we really needed a better camera. So I thought about a lot of options of getting a camera, but the thing is this, there's so many new cameras coming out. This video is actually being filmed on the C300 Mark III, which is probably my dream camera right now. Although we don't own it yet and this is just a test unit, we're looking to buying something new in 2020. But we still needed to get a camera, and that couldn't really break the bank. On the one hand, we actually lost a lot of clients due to Corona, and that money was obviously missing. And then on the other hand, as I've already said, there's so many new cameras coming out that spending a lot of money on a late model that was already out really didn't make a lot of sense. And the Blackmagic was the obvious choice because it's really cheap, it has amazing quality. It's not perfect, there's a lot of stuff that just doesn't really cater to our kind of shooting style and the kind of jobs that we shoot for, but it was definitely good enough when it comes to the image quality. As a matter of fact, good enough is probably definitely the wrong term, because the image out of the camera is gorgeous, and I'm really surprised by how much image quality you can get out of a $2,000 camera. So what's my first impression of the Blackmagic Pocket 6K? As I've just mentioned, the image quality is amazing, and I've hardly ever seen anything as sharp with great color production as I've seen from the Blackmagic Pocket 6K. Unfortunately, we didn't really have the time to shoot with the Blackmagic Pocket 6K too much, and that is due to several reasons. In the beginning, of course, there was still the lockdown, and another reason was there weren't just any jobs lined up yet. And the third reason is just the weather. It's completely crazy here and it's been raining for weeks. And the final reason is just the necessity of rigging out this camera for it to actually being useful. And that alone has given me literal sleepless nights as well as the biggest headache in my life, because it's really a pain in the ass rigging this camera out for my needs that I can actually use it on professional shoots. But I actually just got the perfect rig for my kind of shooting style, and this will definitely be a video in the near future. So make sure to subscribe if you're actually interested in this. We did, however, shoot a little bit. Mostly for YouTube. We shot a small short film for Belle's YouTube channel, as well as just product reviews, test shots, and just our regular YouTube content. And again, this is not a full review by any means, and this is just my first take on the camera. So the image quality is amazing. The problem is that it's really hard to get a shallow depth of field when running and gunning with the camera, it being manual focus only. I found myself having to stop down the lenses most of the time to actually get the shot in focus. I'm not the most experienced when it comes to shooting manual, although I actually do focus manual the majority of the time, even when shooting with the EOS-R. But most of the times I'm just shooting by myself and I don't have a first AC or a focus puller. So I'm still trying to get used to this, and I will actually do a video on this pretty soon where I limit myself to not being able to stop the lens down further than 2.0. So everything I will be shooting in this video will be between 1.4 and 2.0, just to see if I can actually achieve that shallow depth of field look with the Pocket 6K that I'm looking for. The next thing that obviously came to mind is the little things, like not having internal ND filters, the bad battery life, or using an external monitor, and the really odd shape form factor. So one use case I actually used this camera a lot for was for shooting B-roll and product shots for our YouTube channel. And honestly, for this the camera is amazing, because when I'm shooting B-roll I don't need autofocus anyway, and I just want to have the highest resolution and the best looking image I can get. And the Pocket 6K did not disappoint up until this point. So overall I've kind of mixed feelings towards the Pocket 6K at this point. It definitely can be a great camera for a specific niche. I'm just not 100% sure if we actually work in that niche. But we definitely need to do a lot more testing in the near future, and we will definitely do so. But like I already briefly mentioned, we just got the C300 Mark III, so the next week we will extensively test this camera, and then when we actually send it back to Canon, we will focus on the Blackmagic Pocket 6K a lot and actually try to get the best looking footage out of the Blackmagic than we can get. So there you have it. This is my first impression of the Pocket 6K, and I can't wait to actually use this camera more, do some more testing. But the thing I'm most excited for is to actually use it on a commercial setting and see what kind of colors and image quality I can get out of the camera in a real world scenario. So as always, if you're interested in seeing any of the kind of future content we create with the Pocket 6K, or even if you're interested in the C300 Mark III, I would like for you to subscribe to our YouTube channel, and I'll see you on the next one.